Hi, this is Zibby Owens, and you're listening to the award-winning podcast, Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. And speaking of books, I have two of my own books coming out this spring and summer. Princess Charming is a picture book, which debuts on April 19th, and Bookends, a memoir of love, loss, and literature, comes out on July 1st, and it is truly a labor of love. I hope you'll pre-order, order, and join me on tour as I go across the country. You can find out more at zibbyowens.com or bookendsmemoir.com. And you can follow me on Instagram at zibbyowens because I always post about everything. Enjoy the show. Hi, everyone. I need your help. If you love this podcast, you will love my children's book. It's called Princess Charming, and I am really trying to drum up pre-order sales. You might not know this, but before a book comes out is actually a really important time for the whole book's trajectory. So please pre-order Princess Charming, which comes out April 19th today. Just stop what you're doing and go do that, please. When it arrives on April 19th, you can give it to a loved one in your life, a niece, a grandchild, a child, a student, a kid walking by on the street, anybody. But if you could do this, here is my offer. If you email me your receipt showing me that you bought the book online somewhere and pre-ordered it, email info@zibbyowens.com. That's info@zibbyowens.com. And I will pick 10 people to do a special giveaway project award to from my new Bonfire merch store, which you should also check out, which is the Zibby Owens Media Bonfire store, where you can get all sorts of cool t-shirts and tote bags and author sayings and all sorts of great stuff. So what did I say? 10 of you are going to get a special care package of your choice from the Bonfire store, and I will pick at random from all of you who pre-order the book. So if that wasn't clear, go pre-order Princess Charming. Again, it's called Princess Charming. It's my debut picture book. It's really cute and great, and it's illustrated by Hatam. And then after you get the receipt, screenshot it or forward it to me at info@zibbyowens.com, and you will be entered to win one of 10 exciting care packages. So go off and order. Thank you so much. Bye. Today's episode is really near and dear to my heart because it is with me. Holly Hatam and I collaborated on Princess Charming, which comes out today. Stop what you're doing. Go buy it, please. Holly Hatam is the illustrator, and I wrote the children's book thanks to fortuitous meeting with Margaret Anastas, my editor, which author Karen Duquesne, author of The Last Book Party, she introduced us, and it was amazing. You'll hear the whole story here. But Holly and I had never done an interview before, so I interviewed her, but we basically talked to each other about our launch. And I appreciate so much the early support from so many of you for Princess Charming. And I hope you will all buy a copy for your families, for birthday party gifts, for your local schools and libraries. So even if you have a child, buy it for the kids' classroom. And I don't know. Okay, I'll stop begging. But it's really cute. And you'll see me in various tour events and TV events and all sorts of good things to promote Princess Charming. So join me for this exciting ride as I'm a debut children's book author. So I'm not going to read my own bio because you know who I am, basically. And if you don't know who I am, you can go to my website and figure it out at zibbyowens.com. But I guess if you're dropping in from Mars and have never heard of me or heard of anything, obviously I host this podcast. I also host Sex Talk with Zibby and Tracy. I started Zibby Books, a publishing company, with my co-founder, Lee Newman. And we also have Moms Don't Have Time to Write and Moms Don't Have Time to Grieve and a bunch of other things like the Zibby Awards and all of that. And I have a memoir coming out in July called Bookends, a memoir of love, loss, and literature, and I edited 2 anthologies, and that's a good enough bio. I live in New York with my 4 kids and my adorable husband, Kyle. Okay, Holly Hatam, who is the illustrator for Princess Charming, is obviously a children's book illustrator. She's also a greeting card designer and a textile engineer. She is the #1 New York Times bestselling illustrator of Dear Girl and Dear Boy. Her picture books have been translated into over 10 languages and have sold over 1 million copies worldwide. Some of her other books include Hair Twins, Jack Not Jackie, and Maxine the Maker. So run, don't walk. Please consider getting a copy of Princess Charming today. And I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Holly. I know I sure did. Welcome, Holly. Thank you for coming on Moms Don't Have to Read Books. We are basically interviewing each other now for our collaborative project, Princess Charming, written by me and illustrated by you.
So excited. Thank you.
I'm so excited too. It's so cute. Listeners can't feel it, but this children's book, Princess Charming, has glitter sort of all over the stars and the little castle in the background and Princess Charming's outfit and headband. And it's just the cutest. So, Holly, you did such a phenomenal job with these illustrations. And I should maybe say for people listening who don't know what Princess Charming is about, but it's about a girl named Princess Charming who can't seem to find her thing, and she keeps trying everything and not doing a good enough job and wondering what to do. And then this famous movie star, Stella Sparkle, comes to visit the palace, and she realizes through something that happens that maybe what she's really good at is not giving up and perseverance. And then there is a little twist at the end about who Princess Charming really is. And that is the story. Okay, so now you go, Holly.
I had so much fun with this because she reminded me a lot of my little boy, where he, like, every day he's trying something new and being someone new. So it was just fun. And we always try to teach him that failing is not really failing, because he has such a hard time with that. He thinks it's like the worst thing in the world, and he won't try anything unless he knows he's going to be good at it. So this book was amazing to be part of.
Yeah, this was sort of inspired by one of my kids also. It's hard to be a kid and just like keep trying things and wanting so badly. I feel like there's all this pressure to have a thing when you're really, really young. And it's like, you know what? I just found my thing. I'm 45 years old. And sometimes it doesn't happen right away,
yeah. Like, I didn't become a children's book illustrator. It feels like 7 years now. I don't feel like that it's that long. I kept changing and pivoting for so many years when I graduated.
Wait, how did you become an illustrator for children's books?
It's what I've always wanted to do, but I've never found the courage to do it. And I went to school for graphic design because I didn't think I was good enough to apply to illustration. And my teacher told me I was strong in graphic design, so I followed that route and I hated it. I got 2 jobs out of school. I hated it. And then I kept freelancing and I started my own company doing wedding invitations for a while, hated every minute of it. And then I got pregnant and I said, okay, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. That was in 2013. So I just got scared that I would never do it. So I just did it. And I thank my son for that, because being pregnant with him pushed me to finally do it.
Awesome. Well, your son is now motivating this entire project. So he should really be on here with us. I love it.
Oh.
There is that, it's the opposite when you're a child. It feels like there is an endless amount of time and an endless amount of things to experiment with and be good at, or just to enjoy. It's really crazy when you think about it, that you're born deep down with all of these tools and tricks and skills, and you don't even know where they're going to come out. It's crazy.
I miss that. I miss watching my son every day. He's like, well, today I'm going to be a train conductor. I'm like, well, what happened to an astronaut? And he just says, well, I can do both. And I just love that. I wish we still had that mentality.
Totally. Yes, it's so true. I also feel like all this pressure to specialize in a sport really early really backfires.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I was an anomaly among the moms at my school a little bit, because my son kept trying different sports, and there's a lot of their sons knew early on that they were going to be soccer players, and it was a whole thing, and they were in the travel soccer in like first grade, and I'm like, how could I already be so behind? I've already ruined his life. That's how I felt. Like, oh, well, so much for that. I guess he'll try a different sport. But really, and I kept saying to people, like, I played lacrosse for a long time. I was pretty good. I didn't start playing lacrosse till high school. And everyone keeps saying, well, that's not the way it is anymore. I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure it's not?
I feel like it's not the kid that really wants to start early. It's the parents that feel they should start them early.
Well, I love these.
We've never pushed our son to play a sport. Like, he likes it, but he doesn't show such a deep interest for it. And I see the value of working in a team, but I don't ever push him to do something that he doesn't love to do.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't mean to say anything about these moms. I mean, they're good friends of mine. Still, you know, it's just that they seemed so clear. And but the kids loved it too. But now none of those kids play soccer. And I don't know, my son's finally figured out what he likes, but he's, 5'7" or something. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, he's old now. So he's almost 15. Yeah, it's cute. But anyway, back to Princess Charming. I think that she is falling victim to that pressure a little bit of, well, how come I'm not that good? And in truth, we are not all good at all sorts of things. Like, I am good at my couple of things that I'm good at. But like, if you ask me to park a car, I will probably crash it. Like 9 times out of 10, I hit something. I'm like so grateful for those beeps, right? Like, we all have our areas of strength, right? Like, what are you not good at?
Same as you. I didn't get my driver's license till I was 38.
Oh my gosh.
So I was terrified of it. And it's been 4 years now since I've had it. And I still have not parallel parked or backed into a space since I took my test. So like, I hate it. And I hate math. I'm really, really horrible at math. Like, really, it's bad how bad I am at it.
Oh, well, but yeah, with your illustration, I mean, it's all about spatial design. I mean, look at how you're doing that. So it's not that you're devoid of that skill set, right? You're figuring out what fits where, and all of that can be perceived as math, right? All the spatial relations and sort of math adjacent. Math adjacent.
Creative math.
Creative math. Yeah, it's so true. Well, I don't know. I feel like you did such a cool job because not only did you illustrate Princess Charming to be the adorable girl that she is, who I just, am obsessed with, but you interspersed your drawings with some clip art's probably the wrong term, with some images that look like photographs. So I don't know even what that's called or why you chose that. So tell me both.
Well, it's my style. It's what I've been doing for almost 7 years. I just think it adds such an element of surprise, and I love the collage-y look of it. So yeah.
Collage. That's probably the word.
Collage.
So when you were doing this book, for instance, like I know there was a trunk with a brown bear who's sort of hanging over the edge and other little things. Did you just find that in your wanderings, or like?
I have a few public domain photography sites that I use, so I know where to go. And if I can't find a picture that I have in my head that I'm envisioning, I'll go and take the photo myself so I can use it. But that one I found on a stock website.
Did you take any of the photos that are in this book?
I think so. Like a lot of just subtle textures, like this gold, the gold that you see everywhere in the furniture and in the window panes. I'll just take like a close-up photo of something gold that I have around my house. Or the wall textures, and I'll make my own. Sometimes if I can't find a pattern, I just make my own and create a brush out of it in Photoshop.
Huh, that's so neat. Okay, so for instance, in the scene here, I'm just holding it up. I love this like double spread here, where double page spread with the castle dining room all set up and ready to go. So these little pillar looking things look like photos, and I guess maybe even the gold too, right? Like, how did you do this page?
So the gold and the wall is actual photos. Like the gold, I took a picture of it, and the wall, I made it look like plaster by taking a picture of watercolor paper.
No way. Oh, that's so cool. See, I never would have known. All right, I need another secret. Let's see. I'm looking at the plaster. Okay, so this is a lot of watercolor paper. What about, tell me about designing the earrings.
For Stella Sparkle?
Yeah.
I am obsessed with moon and stars, and that's just how it came out of my brain. The hair clip is an actual photograph of a clip, and so is her necklace.
Oh, wow. So neat. So, Holly, not only have you done this book, but you've done a lot of other best-selling books, including all of the ones, which I couldn't believe you'd done when I was like, yes, I would love her to do this children's book, please. So Hair Twins with Rocky Mercandani, which I adored. Rocky was on this podcast and has been over here and everything. And then Dear Girl and Dear Boy with Amy Krauss Rosenthal and Paris Rosenthal, and Dear Teacher and Dear Baby. Happy Right Now, Cranky Right Now, Maxine in the Greatest Garden. You're amazing. And then there are like so many more about unicorns, Tree Song, What Matters, which is beautiful. So, and Mermaids Are Real, you not only illustrated, but wrote, and a couple others. So tell me about all of it. Like, tell me about the writing ones and illustrations.
I've always wanted to be a writer. I actually got a scholarship to go study literature, but I declined it to go for graphic design. So I've always wanted to be a writer, but illustration is still my strong suit. Like, I have been writing a manuscript for a picture book for like 4 years and it's still not right. So I want to ask you how long it took you to do Princess Charming.
Oh my gosh. Well, you should show Margaret.
I have.
Okay. Margaret's the editor for people listening.
She's amazing.
Margaret Anastas is the editor, my editor for Princess Charming, and she's the one who connected us. And I think you know the story, Holly, that Margaret came over for lunch because a friend recommended her and asked me if I would be interested in writing a children's book. And I was like, yes, I would. Thank you very much. And she came over for lunch and showed me a picture, not of this Princess Charming, but of a totally different looking Princess Charming, and said, this is Princess Charming. If you were going to write a book about her, what would it be? And I was like, she's like, do you want to take a stab at that? And I was like, yeah, sure I would. So we went back to eating our lunch, and then I looked up like 2 minutes later. I'm like, okay, here's what I would do. And I told her my idea, basically, including like the ending, which I came up with actually in a cab like a few minutes after lunch. And she was like, perfect, that's it, we'll do it. And I was like, really? Because I've, at that point, I'd been trying to sell a memoir for, I don't know, almost 20 years or something, and like sleeving over so many other projects. And this one just sort of fell in my lap. So
yeah. The idea came within a couple of hours?
It came within a couple of minutes, really, because I will say the one she showed me was Princess Charming looking a little bit messy and like disheveled with a sign that said tryouts at the top. And then there were all these other animals and she was the only little girl.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I was imagining her sort of failing at the tryouts, which is how this whole thing.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know how the story came about.
Yes, that's what happened. And then, of course, Margaret is so awesome. I brought my laptop into the Penguin Random House offices and surrounded by 18 million books, and just thought it was like the Disney World of the literary universe. And I just, we kind of like polished the text and da-da-da. And she's like, okay, well, I feel like this is enough for you to go on, right? You can just like take this and finish it at home. And I was like, why don't we just finish it? This will take like 10 minutes, It's just sort of how I approach most things. Like if I can do it now, I would rather that than wait, because by then other things will come up. So she like laughed and she's like, okay. So we just like, what do you do? We just like finish it. And of course there was some polishing later, but my first attempt.
That's amazing.
Yeah. My first attempts on my own apparently were for much older kids. But I'm like, they'll get my sense of humor. And no, not when they're 3 or 6. And then my kids, who now my little guys are 7 and almost 9, but still 7 and 8. And they're very offended that this book is billed for 3 to 6-year-olds. They're like, what? It's really for us. And I'm like, well, it's not really just for 3 to 6-year-olds. So yeah. And of course, picture books can extend to when you're much older, but it is really exciting, especially both of us having kids, to have a picture book come out when we have kids who can still enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's very special. So
no, my son's also almost 9. And I'm surprised that he still once in a while picks up a picture book. I'm going to be so sad when that is fully over.
No, my daughter, as I said, came home sick, and she really wanted to read this book. And I was like, well, if she's going to be in bed all day, I'll just get her this book on the way home. And then there were all these other children's books. And she's like, well, I still love children's books. So yeah. Of course, then as soon as we got home, she's like, yeah, I'm going to just watch the iPad. And I was like, we just got all the books. Remember books? She's like, well, how long do I have to read? Anyway.
Oh, is this book inspired by her? Princess Charming?
Different. My older daughter, actually. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Does she think that's cool, that it's really about her?
She thinks it's amazingly cool. And then there was a whole fight because I dedicated it to her, my older daughter, and not the other kids.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So now I have promised each kid that I will dedicate a picture book to them, which is really over-promising here. I mean, I know there's one more.
That means you have to keep writing them.
I know one more is guaranteed, but I don't know if I can eke out another 2 after that from Margaret, but we'll see. Anyway, but it sure was fun, and it's very exciting to join sort of the canon of all my favorite children's book authors and illustrators and all of that. So,
it's we're a fun group. Everyone's so welcoming in the children's book publishing.
It's true. Amazing. Well, you've been through this before many, many times. Do you have advice for me? Like, what should I expect? This book is now coming out. It's April 19th as people are listening to this. So by the way, listeners, please, if you only buy one book today, make it this book.
It's Princess Charming.
Support a local indie, buy it anywhere, but give Princess Charming to a little loved one in your life, or donate it to a local library or a little free library or shelter.
I've already done that.
Awesome. I am going to give it to all my schools, my kids' schools, doctor's offices. Give it to your pediatrician. I'm going to put it in the pediatrician's office. So
it will be everywhere.
It will be everywhere. No, seriously. Do you have any advice now that this is kicking off?
My advice would be to really just celebrate it, especially the day that it comes out. I never do this, and I always tell myself I will, is to really just take the day to celebrate that day that it's coming out. Treat it as the book birthday and just soak it in. I usually I love it, but I don't take the time to soak it all in. It goes so quickly. So that would be my advice.
That's great advice. That's good advice for life in general, just taking time to soak in the good moments. Awesome. Well, I have to say, Holly, it's been so fun collaborating with you. And also for people listening, you and I tonight on April 19th at 7, we'll be doing a virtual event with Bookhampton and RJ Julia, and also with authors Karen Parsons and Carrie Doherty. So the 4 of us will have a great live conversation. So anybody around the country, if you can tune into that, go to bookhampton.com or RJ Julia and sign up and come watch us at 7. And thanks for listening. And if you haven't already, buy some Princess Charmings for anybody in your life.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. All right. Well, thanks, Holly. I'm so excited to do this with you.
Thank you. Me too.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Zibby Owens and at Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Also sign up for my newsletter at zibbyowens.com and sign up for my virtual book club and meet lots of authors on Zoom every other week. Thanks so much to Steve and Ryan at Texture Sound for the sound editing. And thank you to Morning Moon Productions for providing this fantastic intro and outro music.